I really like it. That's the only reason.
All right, there is that summer feeling from Jonathan Richmond that you're listening to for most of them. All right.
A very beautiful harmony.
What were we talking about?
When?
Oh yeah, the punk scene. Yeah, like I was 12 or 11 maybe, and I'm from Hamilton, and I just, my parents wouldn't let me listen to the music because they didn't like.
Really, your parents?
Well, they didn't like the Queen is Dead.
Oh,
the Sex
okay.
Pistols album.
Yeah.
So yeah, my parents are very straight.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of those times, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have never been into punk, but I really like a kind of a ethno rock, and
Yeah.
very often it's such a combination of so many things, and sometimes there is a little bit of a punk in it because, you know, unusual instruments and things like that always kind of provoke people to use unusual sounds and experiment with them.
So I've got a friend who says that the only two groups or people who changed music were Elvis and the Sex Pistols.
Wow.
We're like, what about the Beatles? He's like, no, they just
Yeah.
riffed off
Yeah.
Elvis.
Yeah. Oh, that's probably fair enough.
It's quite, when I started to challenge him,
Yeah.
I was like, he's probably right.
Oh, the discussions. I mean, just being that fraction older than you, but so 1976 or whatever, I was 13, and so it was. Well, 76, 77. So you've got ABBA on one hand,
Yeah, right.
you know, coming along, and the Bee Gees and Queen, like all this. But we had a absolutely raging discussion in our house, my brothers and I, as to whether the Bee Gees were bigger than the Beatles. You know, and
Alright,
at
yes, I heard that
13
too,
and
yeah.
12 and 11, these were our ages,
Yeah,
discussing this, and it was, you know, we were so serious about it.
I know. And how do you measure it? Like
I
the
know.
Beatles had more number
Because they were
ones,
so big at the
but-
time.
Yeah,
you know.
and the Bee Gees, I mean, if you listen to the radio, commercial radio now, you won't hear the Beatles, but you will hear the Bee Gees.
Yeah, that's right.
I had a very interesting discussion about how music was commercialized, because everyone can make music of some sort, right? And in the past, the groups that were super popular and super powerful, the people who can produce quite a lot and in the same style and a variety in the same style. But and then going on a concert, it was tour, it was like, oh my gosh, collecting love from everyone, and
Yeah.
then came like a disc or a single or something like that. But now it's completely opposite. They create a music in a studio, release it, and then tour to support it for sale. And sometimes it's not about being able to kind of create a lot or something like that.
Really?
Just about being able to get as much support as you can in monetary form.
Read your Facebook, please?
So it is quite an interesting opportunity to think whether it's a
Yes,
commodity, whether it's art, or
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
or maybe it's a science of
Yeah.
becoming rich or something like
I
that.
mean,
So-
some of it, you know, was certainly very commoditized. You know, what do they call it? Tin Pan Alley, where they just had people, you know, churning out, you know, they're just writing songs to,
like jamming together.
yeah, just, factory music.
Yeah. Then there's the kind of, I was just going to say the other era that I experienced, I was in London again in the mid-90s at Oasis and Blur and
Oh, yeah.
Britpop was just,
Oh, I love Britpop.
it was so cool to be there at that time.
Although I don't like pop music, but Britpop has this elegance and so much, I don't know, upper class kind of a tight lip thing.
And it was tied in with the rise of Tony Blair and they call it New Britain,
Yeah.
New Labour,
Yeah, New Labour. But yeah, there was a New
Cool
Britain.
Britannia, New Britain.
Billy Bragg as well.
Billy
I'm
Bragg,
looking
it's a cool
for a
time to
new
be there.
Britain. Just looking for
Interestingly, music is so connected to food.
Yes.
I mean, there is a 50s United States American diner, and they always play 50s music, and that's what made
Is it
the last diner, and that's what kind of connected in the mind of people. Music of this era, clothes of this era, and food of this era, because mass production started straight after this.
It's quite cool, the diner, right?
It is very cool. I mean, you can sit down and just look at the walls,
Yeah,
listen to
is
the
the
music.
food good though? Yeah.
Yeah, lots of gluten-free one.
Okay.
Yeah, it is good. And I mean, you can have something like fries and stuff like that, but you can have something more complex. But they still serve it in a form of a diner,
Okay, yeah.
which I find very, very fascinating. Mm. Yeah, and they always put the music, like Elvis is often there.
Yeah.
The king.
Sarah's en route.
Yeah. Okay.
What sort of things is she bringing? Is it from your personal store?
Oh no, from Michael's stash.
Yeah.
Oh, from Michael's station. She has an excess. How's our sound? Because we leave our door open. Or
Great voice.
Yeah. Like he's Boston born, I think. Boston Jew.
I can't hear you. Welcome back to Taranaki Foodies, the tastiest food show on 100.4 FM. It's us, Alina Williams and Warwick Foy, in the studio with the red walls. We are welcoming today Michael Donaldson. He's an editor of Pursuit of Hoppiness, beer writer, and avid golfer. Thank you so much for coming to the studio, Michael.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a real buzz, to be honest. Yeah.
Tell us why you're in New Plymouth.
Oh. I've only been in, my wife Deirdre and myself, have only been in New Plymouth for about 9 weeks. And it's a very long backstory as to why we came here, but I think you're more interested in the when someone is choosing to leave Auckland, how do they decide where to go? And
Yeah.
we didn't really have a connection to any other place in New Zealand, and so we did so many trips around the country. We went everywhere, as far down as Dunedin, and New Plymouth was a place that sort of wasn't quite on the radar, but one day we did a spreadsheet and assigned a number of towns and cities scores based on their amenities, their food, their things like hospitals, airports,
Radio stations.
and radio stations, beer, golf, and the outdoors. And we had been to New Plymouth before. We'd been to WOMAD, where I spoke with you in, what year was that?
I think it was
2019?
the COVID 2020.
Yeah, 2020. And we had a great time here, and and we did the spreadsheet, and New Plymouth just always came out on top. And we even tried weighting it to try and assign different values to different categories, and New Plymouth still came out on top. And,
Wow, I feel
it's such
very
a great
pleased.
story, isn't it?
Yeah,
yeah,
it is.
so it's a champion wee place.
Yeah.
We just love it.
We did win was a small city of the world
Yeah, award,
2 or
I
3
think.
years ago or something.
Okay,
Yeah.
and the Sunshine Hours had a lot to do with it.
Mm.
It's important, and we just love it here. Like the coastal walkway is like nearly a daily experience with the ocean and the sun, and lovely.
And we do have some fine breweries here as well.
We do, yes,
And some fine bars.
yeah,
So we should, having promoted the show on the basis of beer,
yes,
we should talk about beer. So I thought, when I was coming here, I thought we could say, where did beer come from? But like I told you the other day about writing a personal statement, where did beer come from? Where is it now, and where's it going?
You want the 10,000 year history of beer, or
Egyptian
You want to one sentence.
fermentation.
yeah. Look, I think beer grew out. Yeah, it's about 10,000 years old, and there's always different debates as to how people discovered that you could drink the product of fermented grains. But there's lots of research that shows our primate cousins and other animals are very good at finding fermented fruit in forests and what have you, and consuming it. And one of the reasons you consume it is because it's a more easily accessible calories and
safer.
And a little bit safer, because the ferments got rid of a lot of other bacteria. And anyway, so beer just maybe naturally early it was a calorific kind of thing. Here's an easy way to get lots of calories into your system, makes you stronger and fitter, but also byproduct that makes you feel sort of quite good. And we're talking low levels of ethanol back in the days. And then it becomes like something that works for you on different levels, and then people get better. And there's the whole argument that the reason we had agriculture was because people didn't want to have to find their fermented grains. They wanted to actually culture it. So you grew the barley and whatever in order to make the beer. And so agriculture is a byproduct of the need for beer. So it's a life essential, really.
Absolutely. I don't think too many people would argue against that. I mean,
No.
one thing I like about beer is that I like wine in limited amounts, but wine is very geographically specific.
Yeah.
Whereas beer, every country I've ever been to in the whole world has always had a beer.
Yes.
Or a style or a brand that's specific to that.
Yeah,
country or
like
place.
I always remember early days starting out writing about beer, and a line that always stuck with me from a brewer was that, you know, wine is just a few different grapes done the same way, whereas beer is a number of ingredients. It's not just malted barley, hops, water, and yeast. There are other things you can throw in, but it can be done in a multitude of ways, and there's an infinite number of beer styles. You know, it's
I agree, and I think that's the appeal to me, is that I don't have the world's greatest palate, so you could buy me a $60 bottle of wine and it would be wasted on me.
Yeah.
Whereas beer, because it's so much more stark, the different styles and the different hops and the different forms of it, to me, I'm like, well, I can distinguish between a porter and a lager.
Yeah.
I can't distinguish between a $20 bottle of Cab Sav and a $30 bottle of Cab Sav.
You might be able to do a Malbec and a Pinot Noir at a push. I'm hoping, but
Push.
Warwick, I don't want to disappoint you, but all the pricing is perception. From marketing point of view, whatever people perceive it as a rich or expensive or high value, then there is a higher tag. So
You're right about that, because a friend of mine, Charles Gill, who used to write in the local paper about wine, he's got a superb palate. He said, don't worry too much about the price. If you want to buy a cheap wine, just buy it from a good vineyard, because they don't make bad wine, even at the $12 mark.
Well, that's the thing about breweries as well. There's sort of, you know, if you want to know if a brewery's really good, if they know what they're doing, you get their lowest ABV beer and their most simple beer, normally a lager or something like that. And if that's done well, then you know that all the fancier stuff is going to be done really well.
What's the reason for that?
Well, when you do lower alcohol and a lager in particular, say a 4% lager, there's not anywhere to hide any mistake that you've made. Any imbalance is really obvious. If it's too bitter, if it's not bitter enough, if there's a fermentation fault that might present itself as, it might taste of aging as cardboard, you know, oxidation, but if it maybe faintly tastes of apples, then there might be a fermentation fault going on in there, unless of course it's Budweiser, which is kind of meant to taste like that. But most other people would say no, it doesn't, shouldn't.
So, Michael, is there a beer that you absolutely do not like?
I've not met one that I don't like. I love some more than others.
Okay.
I
know the beer that Warwick doesn't like.
Do you?
Yes, you don't like cloudy ones.
Hazy.
hazies, yeah.
I don't dislike them. I just would rather, if I'm going to spend $14 in a bar, I'm not going to spend it on that.
Yeah. I'm, you know, I love the flavors in hazies, but I don't necessarily like the texture and the skew towards sweetness. But you know, beer isn't. You actually said earlier, where's beer going? And one of the directions it's going is towards sweeter and sweeter profiles, balances, because for so long it was just known as a bitter product. You know,
is that to broaden what's available?
I think so, and it's also there's a whole lot of knowledge that's developed in the last 20 years around hops in particular, and the characters that they bring in terms of those fruit-driven profiles, and we're talking everywhere from, you know, the citrus in particular through to the passion fruit, the guava, peach, nectarine. You know, you've even got some hops that express coconut,
Wow, really?
You know,
That's insane.
So exotic.
vanilla even. Like so there's all, but for a long time hops were only used for their bitterness to balance the sweetness of the malt. And so now it's like, actually there's all these lovely flavors and we want to showcase them, so we don't want bitterness to get in the way of it. So the bitterness gets pulled back a little bit. It's still there because you still need, I guess, a balance that makes you want to take another sip. But yeah.
Question from the person who didn't drink beer up until probably certain age. I was already working in corporate world.
Tell us the age.
No, you're not getting it on here. So, first of all, I tried beer mixed with lemonade. So in Great Britain, it's considered a cocktail, quite popular.
Shandy. Yeah.
Shandy, yes. And also there is a one cocktail which is a mixture of expensive champagne and dark beer from Ireland, and it's called Black Velvet.
Black velvet. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was really amazing. This is
Well,
something that appeals to me a lot.
Well, a shandy's going exactly in that direction. It is taking something that's maybe, especially to a younger palate, maybe quite bitter, and sweetening it up to make it more palatable. So
50-50 usually.
Yeah.
But I mean, if but a barman or barwoman says that it's the person is kind of intoxicated, 75 to 25 or something like that. What's your opinion on mixing beer in cocktails?
I don't know about like shandy. Like shandy is
classic.
having a moment, or radler is to use the German word for it, which comes from cyclist. And it's about having a beer that you've had after a long ride that is part beer, part lemonade, part ginger ale even. But now in the search for something always new, there are breweries in America that are doing radlers as a like a high octane version. So it's still like half lemonade or ginger ale and beer, but it's like 8% ABV, which defies the point of the radler in the first place, which was to water down the beer. But
Is that like a really fat IPA with some lemonade in it?
I think so. Firestone Walker do it. For people that know the brewing world, Firestone Walker are sort of cult brewers in the US, and they're a bit like Garage Project here. They're always sort of pushing boundaries, you know. So yeah, like they call them turbo radlers.
Yeah, I think that it will appear in the tins very soon.
Yeah.
Because everything kind of evolves.
Yes.
What do you think about gluten-free beers?
Look, it's a massive part of, as we know in the food scene. Like if you go to a restaurant now and there's not a little GF by a few things, there are certain people that are not going to go there, and beer is one where there's a whole audience that's been historically cut out from consumption because of the gluten. And yeah, there is Kereru in Upper Hutt do a number of gluten-free beers, those alternative grains, and I won't try and list them because I'll get them wrong and forget them, but the other thing that's happening now is rice. And rice used to be used, especially in American brewing, as a replacement for barley, especially post-war when you couldn't get it. But now there's a recognition that rice is actually a really good grain to brew with, and it brings a really different mouthfeel, quite a good texture, and there's a gluten-free beer for you, you know. So
Would you wouldn't just have rice on its own, would you?
probably not for a beer. You'd probably have to, it would be part of it, but rice, sorghum's another one. Yeah, as I say, if I start listing I'll get one wrong, and I don't want to send anyone down the wrong track.
No.
But talking about Garage Project, like they've brewed a number of beer, like a ginger beer they've just released called Zinger, and it's
I think I
properly
tried it.
fermented, and it's with rice, and you know, it's fantastic.
It is quite tasty.
Yeah.
I was at Biavana quite a few years ago, and Garage Project had a lab was their
Yeah.
was their spot, and my memory is hazy, but I think they had some sort of fire with rocks on it. It was the Red Rocks beer that they made,
Yes.
and I thought, this is peak beer.
Yeah.
You know, watching these guys brew at Biavana, like, as I say, it was hazy, but with fiery rocks.
You're thinking of the red hot poker dipped
Yeah,
into
yeah,
the
yeah. Is that what I'm
beer.
thinking of?
Yeah. Because they did do another beer where they boiled the beer, if you like, by putting in superheated volcanic rocks into.
Wow.
They'd had the fire brigade on hand, just in case.
Oh.
That's Red Rocks Reserve, yeah.
Red Rocks Reserve.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, to me, it looks like beer is just traveling around the world, marching around the world, and winning everywhere they appear. Like it's not only pizza and beer became like a classical combination. Now is Korean chicken and beer became a classical combination. Do you think beer has this opportunity to win the whole world to become a truly international drink, or maybe it's already happened?
Oh, it's already happened. I don't think there's a country in the world where you couldn't get beer or that doesn't produce beer, which you can't say for wine, of course.
Saudi Arabia.
Perhaps. Okay.
Different reasons.
Yeah.
Maybe from fermented camel milk, you know, you never know.
I was once in Sharjah covering a cricket tour, and Sharjah's a dry state in the United Arab Emirates. But it was always amazing that you left Sharjah and just drove down the road to Dubai, and it was just you could get whatever you want. So it sort of defied the point. But anyway, I digress.
Well, I have several questions to you about your magazine, but I think it's a perfect time to listen to our second song, which is When Your Mind's Made Up.
And you're listening to The Foodie Show on Taranaki's Most FM 100.4.
Awesome, it's going well.
This show's going to go long.
Believe it or not, you've been speaking for 26 minutes already, so
really?
it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Makati, would you be able to get, do you want any beer?
No.
Okay, 2 of glasses like that, please, or any glasses. Thank you.
And maybe a couple of serviettes as well. You can't drink in here, you have to move over there.
Yes, please. We have to tell them to not.
Drop.
It's coming through them,
Yeah,
but I don't want to be.
I'll say afterwards. We used to have a gimbal, but then,
Yeah.
talk to him.
So Glenn Hansard,
Yes.
who's he?
Glenn Hansard is an Irish singer-songwriter. This song is from the film Once, and 2007. It's a cool film, like just a cute little musical. And he's in a duet with a Czech woman called Markéta Irglova, if I pronounce that right, Irglova,
Yeah.
Markéta Irglova. And so Once is just, plays a busker in Dublin, and meets this woman who's a piano player, and then they get together and record an album, just, as you do.
Yes, you
And
do,
and the album,
Thanks.
Kari, make sure that you don't drop this microphone because it goes on ear, and this is something that we cannot afford. Okay?
but I should have chosen the song that won the Academy Award, actually.
Hello, right in time while music is playing. Well done.
Good. This is Deirdre. Oh
Ah,
my
hello,
God, you bought
Deirdre.
everything.
I didn't know what to bring.
You can stay in the studio in one of these chairs. There is quite
Be
a.
quiet.
Thank
Unless,
you.
until I ask you a question. When I ask you a question, you have to answer. Come to the microphone and answer.
So you,
Right, so we should have a beer at 4:30.
yeah. Did you come with Sarah?
No, I got the message when I got down here. I just thought, oh, I'll bring them.
Would you like a beer, did you?
I'm alright.
Yeah, right.
I believe you drink lots of beer in your household, David.
Yes. If ever you want some, come and take it. It's way too much. You too as well.
This is Deirdre,
Hello.
Hi, nice to meet you.
You too.
I'm Zach.
Zach,
Zach.
and Makati.
So you're the cameraman?
Yep, both of us.
Is that cloudy?
Both of us.
Both of you?
Yeah.
Alright, okay. You're producing.
I reckon it's a bit cloudy.
So how are you going to complement it?
Well, I'm not going to say anything rude.
I put mine into the wrong
That's
glass.
good on you.
Yeah.
What is it? Yours?
The reason I chose
Oh,
it
you
is...
brought this one out.
Yeah.
I was thinking, I didn't take that.
Can you show it to Zach or?
Oh, sure.
The camera?
That was the style of beer that got me interested in beer.
And what is it? I can't read that label.
It's an ESB.
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
Better be lovely.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll listen.
And do I show mine to this little camera here at some
Yes.
point? Yeah.
Yes, you can do it.
It tastes good.
You can show
Yeah.
it to Mikara as well because he's going to be. Have to be really careful what I post because
Oh yeah.
yeah, but I'll mark it that it's not allowed for children. So.
Okay.
Otherwise, Facebook will ban me forever. Welcome back to Taranaki Foodies, the tastiest food show on 100.4 FM, proudly supported by Salt Restaurant of Millennium Hotels. It's us, Alina Williams and Warwick Foy, in the studio that smells beer, because our guest today is Michael Donaldson, editor of Pursuit of Hoppiness, beer writer and avid golfer. So we talked about your beer, and
Yeah.
it looks like the topic could be explode and research and explode and research much more. So tell us about the magazine, please.
Oh,
because
okay. Yeah.
I see it all the time at our radio station and at some bars as well. So
Yeah. So
tell us
it's
more.
I'll hold it up for the wee camera. That's
Beautiful cover art.
a lovely cover art, actually, I have to say. So Pursuit of Hoppiness was started in 2008 by an organisation called the Society of Beer Advocates. And that was a group that was set out to advocate for more good beer in pubs, in restaurants. Like Warwick could talk about this. He's a former president of Sober.
I was wondering if that
I
was going
love
to
to,
come up today.
I love to
Yeah.
represent him as that. And then he said that he retired from it. I was like,
He
sounded
did.
so cool because sober is like sober.
Yeah, it's like sober noodle, but sounds sober. But it's the Society of Beer Advocates. Sadly, they've gone defunct. Part of it was their mission was accomplished, as you've pointed out. Good beer is everywhere, and but the magazines kept going. I was asked to edit it in 2015, so I've been doing that for 10 years, and there was a time where I guess Sober saw that they might not exist for the future, that they might not be capable of continuing to print a magazine. It's an expensive business, so I took over the ownership of it. It cost me 1 pint of beer.
You've got a
We
cheap.
spent quite a while debating how much we'd charge him.
and so it comes out
It's called bribe.
Yeah, it comes out 5 times a year. It's free. We print 15,500 copies, so
That's amazing.
It's pretty, and it's widely distributed. It goes to, I think there are over 500 recipients, and they range from individuals who subscribe to bars, restaurants, supermarkets, bottle stores, cafes, radio stations. Some libraries take it, unbelievably, which, why not?
Why not?
So yeah, so it's and it's just stories about people in the beer industry. It's beer reviews, beer people, beer travel. The issue that's just come out is sort of got to focus on travel, and yeah, it's a great little storytelling vehicle, and it's just a little A5, so it's small.
But that's a lot.
66 pages though.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's not thin, and there is lots of material in it. And I know, I follow Instagram. There is lots of stories from people who love bubble tea or some beautiful mochi or something like that. Is it the same culture for people who love beer? Do they love to Instagram about beer?
Oh yes.
Tell us about someone
Oh,
who
yes.
just blow your mind with their picture or video or reel.
Oh well, I can't go past one of the contributors for the magazine, and he also lives in New Plymouth
Oh,
and goes by the handle of Dusty. Dusty,
Okay.
if you're listening.
hello, Dusty. We love you. Come to the radio next
Yeah,
time for an interview.
Dusty would be a great guest. He takes fantastic photographs. There's a lot of the good work in photographing beer is that the cans now are so photogenic.
Yeah.
But the way you present the beer is important. You have to have a clean glass. It has to look really nice in the glass. Can't just slap it into any old dirty glass and take
The
a
de-
photo.
the
You have to
design
light
on the-
it well.
Yeah,
And
the design on the bottles or cans are just out of this world. I can look at it sometimes and thinking like, wow, this is the masterpiece.
yeah,
But it's
and
problematic, isn't it? Because Ron Trigg from Mike's was telling me there's always pressure on to come out with a new beer every week to try and keep up and have some new thing and new label and new design. And
yeah, yep.
hard.
Yeah, I think, and we've mentioned Garage Project a couple of times, but I think they are probably still the leader in this field, probably with Behemoth close behind them, in terms of how many beers come out every year. And we're talking maybe 60, 70 new releases in a year, so that's more than one a week. A lot of them are just short term, they're here and gone
And
within a week or two.
they're tweaks, aren't they? They're not really revolutionary.
No, yeah, exactly. But they've got to still come up with a fresh label, a fresh name.
It's all marketing, guys.
It's well, the thing is, it's kind of it's yes and a no, because if it was all marketing, then the big breweries would win because they've got all the marketing budgets in the world, and they've marketed their way to their dominance in the market, literally. And people love the art, but they love what's inside it more. And so the really cool can art is appealing to people who really love beer. So they, I don't know, it will reach new people, but your audience for beer is then mesmerized by all these cans, and that's where it's hard as a consumer to kind of, which one of these glorious objects are you going to pick off a shelf and take home, you know?
And I was thinking that Pack and Say the other day, how do they stock manage? Like, because beer does date, and although they do have it in fridges now, which is great, I don't know how they stock control it. I really don't.
Yeah,
I'm sure there is a system.
You'd have to take.
But I mean, how do they do it with milk? Like, how often,
True.
you know,
True.
I went home recently with, I think it was some smoked mussels that when I got them home, they were already past their use by date. And how did that happen? At least beer won't kill you if it's past its use by.
That's true. So we have cracked one.
Yes.
We've cracked two actually. I chose the Alibi Governor ESP. And the reason I chose it, I'm going to read the description, is because this was the gateway beer for me when I lived in the UK 20 years ago. And I would try these lovely English bitters and ESBs. And can you please define for us the difference between a bitter and an ESB?
Well, ESB is extra special bitter. So I suppose your traditional English bitter would be about 4%, and it would be, I don't know, probably not too different in concept and delivery and availability as your Spates or Lion Red or whatever. I mean, taste a little bit better than those,
And a little bit
probably.
warmer.
Yeah, but an ESB is, so it's usually going to be around 5%, so it's a little bit more alcohol, a little bit more, they tend to be a bit maltier, so they're getting a little bit heftier on the palate, so not so quaffable in the pub sense.
I like the word quaffable. I
yeah.
don't know what it means.
We all
but it
do.
sounds
Yeah. So yeah, it's just the richer, upgraded version to your pint in the pub.
So that's why I asked you, because I would have said it was just a beefy version of a bitter in three words, but that's an eloquent
It's
description.
a beefy version, yes.
So I will read the can descriptor because I really like, if my eyesight can adjust,
Yeah, the writing's often very small.
very small. And what I loved when I tried these beers, having been a Kiwi, Steiny and DB in line like all of us
Yep.
before Max arrived, was not only the maltiness but the hops, the flowery hops.
Yes.
So here's the descriptor here. This one is quite beefy, 5.6% ABV. The malt body is built on pale malt with biscuit. I really am struggling with the notes from Munich and touch of, can't read that. Brewed with an English ale yeast and hopped with, and this is where it's interesting. This is what I love about Kiwi breweries.
Yeah.
So of course, East Kent Goldings
Yes.
and Fuggles, which is the what you would expect in a bitter. And then, because why not, let's put in some US and New Zealand Pacifica and citra hops to enhance the marmalade character.
Yes.
I'm going to go and get some glasses after this. but
Yeah.
that
I mean,
was-
so there's a classic English beer in terms of what they're set out to achieve in ESB, but they put American hops in it. And they're not the first to do that.
Right.
Mount Brewing made an amazing ESB with American hops in it. You know,
Is that still around?
no, I think it was one of those fly-by-nighters.
Have you had a chance to try this one?
I haven't, but I will
We'll come back. We'll come back.
partake.
And what did you bring? What did you bring in?
Oh, well, I bought in, and the reason I bought this in is multi-leveled. So it's a beer called Ingrid.
Ooh,
And
Ingrid.
it's-
I know 3 Ingrids. in
Yeah,
my family.
and it's produced by Emerson's. And one of the books I've done in my career was Richard Emerson's biography, which was called The Hop Father. And so Richard Emerson founded this brewery 33 years ago. And his mum, Ingrid, was an amazing woman, and she died last year. So he produced this beer in her honor. And it's her favorite beer style, which is, it's a Weiss beer, or if you were to spell it phonetically, Weiss beer, but it's Weiss as in white. And it's a German wheat beer, so it's got kind of a little bit of clove and banana character going on there.
Hoegaarden?
Hey,
Hoegaarden?
yeah, very similar.
Similar? That will be the
and
well-known.
it's one of the best beers I've had this year, and I just love the fact that he made a beer for his mum. She probably would have appreciated it more when she was alive, but she's a lovely woman, Ingrid, really nice, and yeah, and so I love a beer with a story.
Yeah.
So
I should look at it and maybe present it to my Ingrid friends.
Mm.
One of
Indeed.
them is Belgian, and Belgian beer is quite well known. And I think I tried Krieke, which is a cherry beer.
yes,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, this was like heaven.
Oh,
When
really?
tried
I
it.
like that. I do like
Yes.
that. Yeah.
And usually guys that I know are not very much into the fruity tastes, but everyone who tried it actually liked it. So maybe
Yeah.
they pretended, I don't know. But
Oh no,
it was
I mean Belgian beers are quite exotic by everyone else's standards. Those, especially those sour, the
more
lambic
like-
styles.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's more like a champagne beer kind of thing
yeah,
for me.
quite fizzy. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I was just thinking, Michael, tangent, but you'll be like a hero to lots of Kiwi people because you get to write about cricket and you get to write about beer.
I know. I know.
And did you say music?
No,
Golf.
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 So like, honestly, and so therefore, you would get to go to cricket matches for free. You would get
Oh,
beer
yeah.
for free, and you might get golf for free.
Work, it's your dream,
Yes.
right?
Not the
So
golf
you,
part.
you,
Not the
you've
golf
been too
part,
jealous.
the after you've spent 5 days at a test match in 36 degrees in Chennai, where there's an open sewer that runs outside the stadium, you might come back to me and
Right.
sort of no,
But
but
not as glamorous as it sounds.
no, especially in the subcontinent, man, it's hot
Yeah.
there. I mean, the Sharjah trip I was talking about, there was one day there was 50 degrees, and it was just
That's insane. But what,
Yeah.
what I was really, in a stupid way, getting to was that you've been able to turn your passions into a job, and that's always a great thing to achieve.
yeah. I don't know. I feel very blessed. Like the sports writing, when I first went to university, I studied physics and maths because I was good at that, but it got really hard after about year 2 at university. Physics and maths became impossible. And I wanted to
like
do-
it is for most of us at the
Yeah.
age of 15.
So I pivoted very hard and studied physical education. And so I got a degree in phys ed from Otago University. And towards the end of my time there, I ended up doing some writing for the Otago Daily Times on some oddball sports down there. Like I covered rugby league. And when I say I covered it, I went down to the park on a Saturday for a rugby league game and hand wrote a report and took it in on Sunday. But then I thought, I really like this, and so I applied for a journalism degree, and I went in and just said, all I want to do is be a sports writer, and that was seen as maybe different enough, and so yeah, I just thought I'm going to be a sports writer, and I got jobs that took me around the world, some amazing places, like, and and that I sort of moved out of that about 2010, 11, and sort of got into more general news. But that's also about the time where I really got into beer, and approached my editor then at the Sunday Star Times and said, I reckon you should get rid of our wine columnist and give me a beer column. And
What was the tipping point for you in embracing craft beer?
it also harks back to the beer I'm drinking here from Emerson's, because and I'm trying to think, it must have been, I was home brewing, right? Like I had started home brewing. I was really into that whole, I don't know, do it yourself, not because it was cheap, but just to explore how you could do it and what it involved. And but then there was tasting, I'd always liked different beer, like always. And when I lived in Australia, I discovered a lot of really interesting beer. And I don't know, it's just always, I was drinking Max from a very early age, when probably everyone else that I knew was drinking Spates and Lion Red, etc. So I've always kind of been adventurous, I suppose. But then there was a trip we did from Auckland. We were going down to Greymouth, where my brother lived at the time, and we were going to have kind of New Year with him. And so we did this big roadie, and part of it was we went to Martinborough, and around Christmas time, and went to the Martinborough Hotel, and they had Emerson's Pilsner on tap.
Classic.
And I had never had anything like it at the time. It just blew me away. And suddenly it was like, there's something that I don't really know about. Like, I'm interested in beer. I've never heard of this, but it's amazing, and I have to know more about it. And yeah, and then I started writing about it before I knew enough to know that I shouldn't be writing about it. And so then it's just like, you've jumped on a skateboard going downhill, and you just have to keep going,
But that's so interesting about Emerson's Pilsner, because I haven't had one for years, but my recollection is it is a Pilsner, but it has Kiwi hops in it, so it just has a little bit of zing in the Kiwi way.
Yes. It changed my life, but it actually changed, and I didn't know that at the time, of course, it actually changed the whole direction of New Zealand brewing to an extent, because for people that don't know, Pilsner it evolved out of, it's a Czech, Czechs love their Pilsner, and then there's German and Dutch variants, but it comes from that part of the world. It's traditionally made with hops that are, for want of a better word, spicy, grassy.
SARS.
Yeah, SARS hops. So they're hops from Slovenia and the Czech Republic, and
wow, I didn't even know about that.
they present a certain flavour. New Zealand, Emerson's were the first to really do it and put in Nelson grown hops, which are less austere and more fruity.
More complex, is that fair?
Yeah, more complex perhaps. But what it evolved was the New Zealand style Pilsner, and so most New Zealand brewed Pilsners now are in that New Zealand hopped category, and it's been so, I guess, different and amazing. It's now classified as its own unique beer style. So there will be judges in America in beer judging competitions who will judge beers in a New Zealand Pilsner style,
cool.
So it's pretty cool.
That is very cool, and I think the Panhead example is a
Port Road Pilsner is absolutely, it's a hummer. It's really good. It's just really vibrant, kind of lime, lemon, passion fruit, and so we really accent like a sweet citrus in a lot. So that lime or candied kind of lemon character, as opposed to maybe American hops, which are a bit more in the zesty citrus kind of.
Wow, so much passion, so
So,
much knowledge.
the Mad Media Time's 4:48, but we're not stopping yet. I've got another couple of questions. I have this theory that beer tastes best in its home country, because I don't really like lagers, and I'll rephrase. I don't love lagers and pilsners, but if you are in a hot country like Vietnam and you're getting a real pale lager like in Thailand, what's the Singer or Chang or something like that, there's nothing better. Like, they do have craft beer there, and I'm walking past the IPAs and I'm going for the Singer.
Well, it's, the classic beer that this revolves around this question: is Guinness, and does the Guinness in Ireland taste better than anywhere else in the world? The people at Guinness will tell you that Guinness is brewed in New Zealand under license, so Lion brew it, and every batch of beer that they brew here, a keg of it goes back to Dublin and gets checked, and
Oh, serious?
by probably one of the best sensory panels that you could probably assemble, because we're talking about, you know, a global product that they have to make sure is consistent everywhere. So they will always tell you it's exactly the same. But the difference between you drinking Guinness in your local, in our case Peggy Gordon's or somewhere, versus drinking it in Temple Bar in Dublin is going to change the taste.
It's the other senses coming into play. Isn't
All
it?
of those other factors that are your eyes and your ears and, you know, the fire in the corner and all that kind of stuff. It's
So I've got another question, but I'll just say that the Alibi Governor ESB was exactly what I was hoping for.
brilliant.
And it did meet the description that I read, so well done, Alibi. So the next question is, we kind of touched on it with Panhead, with, who did you just talk about? Oh, Lion, and Emerson's owned by Lion. So when you sell out to one of the corporates, you know, what's that about? Is it bad? Does the beer change? What's that story?
Okay, well, it's safe to say that Emerson's Pilsner has changed and Panhead Supercharger has changed.
I agree.
And that is a product of, they're now brewing more of it. Because they're under the Lion umbrella, it's more widely distributed. It has to probably sit on shelves for a lot longer, so the whole thing of making it stable for its whole year best before date becomes a really critical part of the brewing process. I would say it's, you know, a lot of those beers are tweaked to be delivered to a wider audience, because a lot of hoppy beers especially will not last long in their best condition on a shelf, even in a refrigerator. The more you put in, the more that can kind of deflate in terms of flavour over time, because no matter what you do to try and keep oxygen out of a can or a bottle, there's always going to be a little bit, and there will be some degrading over time. And you know, maximum refrigeration is, you know, in terms of along the distribution chain is ideal, but that's not possible. So it can't stay chilled every step of the way. You know, there are some breweries like McLeod's up in Northland will say, we won't sell to anyone who can't guarantee that it'll be chilled at every stage of the process. They relinquish from time to time on that. You know, that would, but it's critical for a brewery that makes a really, especially hoppy IPAs, that they present in the best possible condition.
Because I think the hoppy IPA drinker is the most demanding
Probably.
consumer.
Yeah, I'd say so. Your average lager drinker is, you know, there's plenty of choice, but to get a really good IPA, there's limited choice, I suppose, within, you know, the craft beer world. But by the same token, the people at Emerson's will say corporate ownership has just brought them so much, and so many benefits for the staff and for the business. So yeah, it's a hard one, you know. It's
I remember Richard got some criticism when he sold to Lion, and I just remember thinking, here's a guy who didn't mortgage his house, but, you know, metaphorically, worked his ass off, invested in the business, took the risk, did everything that he did, and just worked so hard. Why is he not allowed to sell a business just like any other business?
Yeah, I know,
I have
and I
no
know.
issue with it.
And I mean, the whole thing is that the era of big breweries buying craft is over. That was a brief, you know, 2012 to 2015 fling, and yeah,
because they got what they wanted, which was they could then stick their hand into that part of the market and make sure that's covered off, and there's no need to buy more.
No.
We're about to finish our show. We are so honored for you to coming. I would like to finish on a personal story.
Yes.
I remember some time ago we went to Crimea. I used to live in Feodosia, where was a huge brewery factory there. And from time to time they used to bring a big vat of beer on one of the main squares and just serve it on for the people who want to buy it. And my husband, New Zealander, came and drank it. And he was like devoted to it. He every day went and drank this beer. And I said to him, and just to describe the beer, I didn't know much about beers then. I said, well, you like Guinness and things like that, something that costs $4, $7, $12 per drink, and you drink something that costs like 20 cents. How does it feel? Do you really need to do it? And he said, it's fresh, it was made today or yesterday, and they just leftovers they bring here. It's really simple, and it's boozy. 3 main characteristics of beer, right? To some people,
cheap,
of course.
cheap and boozy, yeah.
Cheap and boozy, yeah. But I mean, it was called, the brand is called Zhigulevskaya, and it still probably exists in Ukraine. So it's quite interesting how sometimes the brand of the product refines certain area or nation. So yes, thank you very much for bringing beer topic.
Yes, you're welcome. It's a real pleasure to be here.
And I hope you come again, because I don't think we even covered
No.
5%
I
of
didn't
what-
get a chance to flog my golf book, so we'll do that next time.
Here it is, vlogging golf book is next. And if one of us is away, you can come and co-host with us. It would be such a honor.
That would be a pleasure.
Right.
Thank you.
I think we need to tick the foodies box though, the foodies show box.
Yes.
So the pairing with food and beer, your top choice, apart from potato chips.
No, well, a burger.
Peanuts.
I think a burger and an IPA are just like a match made in heaven. A lager and
Fish and chips.
fish and chips, actually. Well,
I think
curry.
cheese,
Curry, lager and
cheese,
curry, yeah.
cheese and black beer, dark beer and cheese.
Yeah.
I'll say pizza for
Oysters
me.
and stout.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So there you go. Like, look how myriad the choices are with beer. It's amazing.
Awesome. So thank you so much. For every foodie that is listening to us, please follow us on Facebook. It's a group called Taranaki Foodies. We also have an Instagram, and we are reviving our YouTube channel. Please also follow Michael Donaldson. I'm sure he has something to say online about beers.
Yes.
And
At
see you.
hoppiness.co.nz.
Also,
Hoppiness.
Pursuit of Hoppiness. Find it online as well. And I'll hear you next week, my foodies and gourmetarians. Bye bye, everyone.
And thank you to our amazing sponsor.
Amazing sponsor, Salt Restaurant by the waterfront of Millennium Hotels. Thank you very much for supporting us.